Hypothyroidism is a very common medical condition. Some would say it's increasingly common. It's more common in women than men. In the UK, it affects 15 out of every 1,000 women and 1 in 1,000 men. But some researchers believe it is much more common than that, and that as much as half of the population who have thyroid disease may be undiagnosed. Some doctors believe that as many as 10% of women may have some extent of thyroid hormone deficiency. A study conducted in India last year found that 1 in 10 people had mild thyroid failure, known as subclinical hypothyroidism. 1 in 4,000 babies is born with hypothyroidism. The thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland in the neck that produces 2 hormones, thyroxine, which is known as T4, and triiodothyronine, known as T3. Thyroxine, or T4, is converted into T3 by the organs and tissues that need it. The role of the thyroid hormones is to regulate metabolism. This is the process that regulates how we get energy from food and burn calories. Worldwide, the most common cause of hypothyroidism is iodine deficiency. Iodine is an element that is needed to produce thyroid hormone, and the body cannot produce it on its own, so it has to come from food. The richest dietary source of iodine is seaweed. Iodine is much more evenly distributed in seawater than on land, so seafood products are good sources of iodine, especially white fish. Other foods that are relatively high in iodine include milk, dairy products and nuts. Vegetables contain small amounts of iodine, but the problem is iodine is unevenly distributed in the soil. Some regions have more than others. This is why some parts of the United States and some parts of Britain used to be known as the goiter belt, because the soil in these areas was deficient in iodine. These areas had a relatively high incidence of goiter. Goiter is a lump in the neck caused by swelling of the thyroid gland. The introduction of iodized salt in the United States in the 1920s raised levels of iodine in the American population and reduced the incidence of goiter in that country. In Britain, iodine deficiency was reduced after the introduction of iodine-fortified cattle feed, together with increased milk consumption. In countries where most people get enough iodine in their diet, the most common cause of hypothyroidism is believed to be an autoimmune condition known as Hashimoto's thyroiditis, or Hashimoto's. However, there is a growing body of research that suggests other factors may be to blame, including bromine toxicity, as bromine is believed to displace iodine in the body. Other chemicals that may be detrimental to iodine are chlorine, fluorine and astatine. These are all part of a class of chemical elements known as the halogens. Hypothyroidism or underactive thyroid is a condition where the thyroid doesn't produce enough hormones, and this results in slower metabolism. Symptoms include persistent fatigue, persistent weight gain, brain fog, sensitivity to cold, and a slow pulse rate. Hyperthyroidism is just as debilitating, but in this case the thyroid is overactive, not underactive. Too much hormone is produced and the metabolism speeds up. Symptoms can include weight loss, rapid pulse rate, sensitivity to heat, nervousness and irritability. I personally have not been diagnosed with hypothyroidism. In fact, when I had a blood test, it showed that my TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone levels, were only slightly raised. It's often said that blood tests for hypothyroidism can be misleading, but my aim is not to prove that I have hypothyroidism. is to find out and treat what is wrong with me, and if it is hypothyroidism, to hopefully nip it in the bud before it develops into a really serious condition where I might have to be on prescription drugs for life. What I am pretty certain of is that I have an iodine deficiency. About 2 months ago, I did what's known as an iodine patch test on myself. That's where you apply tincture of iodine to the surface of the skin on the inside of your arm, or on your thigh, or onto your stomach, in roughly a 3-inch square just before you go to bed. The theory is that the faster the iodine colour disappears from the skin, the more iodine deficient is a person tested. In general, if the yellow iodine colour has faded after 8 hours, or when you get up the next morning, you're considered to have an iodine deficiency. If the colour is there 24 hours later, you probably have nothing to worry about. But the test can be unreliable due to factors such as evaporation. When I did the test, the yellow colour disappeared within an hour. Even if you take into account the other factors, it does seem likely that I have an iodine deficiency. Whether I have hypothyroidism or not, I'm hoping that whatever's been making me prone to fatigue, weight gain and a very slow pulse rate will be corrected by taking high-dose iodine supplementation. As usual, I'll keep you updated on my progress with this. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe below. Thanks for watching.